I'm Patty Ann Brown, and you are in the strategy room. There are new revelations that Hillary Clinton's top aide, Cheryl Mills, held several other jobs while working at the State Department. They included a board position at a UAE-funded university in Abu Dhabi while working at the State Department. The Washington Free Beacon reports that after joining State in 2009, Mills continued to act as a general counsel for New York University for several months, as well as to their satellite campus in the Middle East. Here with reaction right now, we have Democratic strategist Douglas Smith and Republican strategist Robert O'Brien. Welcome to both of you. Douglas, internal documents indicate that Mills started as Clinton's chief of staff in February 2009. Until May of that year, she also served as general counsel for NYU and on the board of NYU in Abu Dhabi, which is its fundraising arm. That's 4 months of overlap. Is this a problem?
Well, I think first and foremost, I'm not so sure how much I would rely on the Beacon for accurate information. I think, A, we should first see what time the State Department says she started. I know when I was in government, while technically they said I started on a certain date, it's sort of months until you come on board. I mean, the second thing I would say, which is most important, is I've actually known Cheryl Mills for almost all of my professional career. And I have to say, she's one of the most professional, profound women that I know. And the fact is that she was also the general counsel at the time. I would find it, just knowing Cheryl, just shocking if she would put herself, the State Department, or anyone else in conflict.
Robert, to Douglas's point, the State Department does say that she started later, but the Free Beacon did find documents in which she was listed as being the chief of staff much earlier than that, in February. So under conflict of interest rules, as a federal employee, she could not participate in matters that would benefit another employer, such as NYU, during those 4 months. Now, the Beacon notes that Secretary Clinton gave the NYU commencement address on May 13th of that year, and Bill Clinton was paid $175,000 for a speech in Abu Dhabi that November. Are those conflicts?
With respect to Ms. Mills, that's something that'll have to come out, and I'm sure that there are folks in Congress who are going to be looking at those issues and looking at the emails. But I think it speaks to a broader issue, and that is this vast relationship between Clinton world, Huma Abedin and Cheryl Mills and Secretary Clinton and President Clinton, their relationship with governments in the Middle East, the amount of money, I mean, shocking, millions and millions of dollars flowing in from foreign companies and foreign entities into the Clinton Foundation while Secretary Clinton was handling matters related to those countries and those companies as Secretary of State, the vast, enormous speaking fees. I mean, the Clintons have become some of the wealthiest people in America because of speaking fees that were paid to President Clinton while his wife was Secretary of State, and so all of this is just part of a cloth. I mean, the specifics of Cheryl Mills and her situation is less important than the overall fabric of this relationship between Secretary Clinton while she was Secretary of State and the Clinton Foundation and President Clinton and kind of Clinton world. Right. I'm sure it's something that the White House is not happy about. Okay. President Obama can't be happy about these continued revelations, and we'll have to see how it plays out in the campaign.
Okay, Douglas, as Robert's pointing out, it's not just the NYU issue. The Beacon also pointing out that Mills was on the board of the Clinton Foundation during part of her time at State. A foundation official says she resigned in March 2009. That's just a month after starting at State, but she is listed in some Clinton Foundation records as the director up until 2012. The foundation says, look, that's just an error. And any conflict of interest with Mills being involved with the foundation, do you see while she was a State Department employee? What about the foundation issue?
Right. No, actually, I don't. I mean, first and foremost, this is a foundation that has, since its creation 10 years ago, has spread $2 billion across the United States and the world on projects that have benefited men, women, and children as far as the eye can see. I think it'd be one thing if she had been on the board of the NRA or a highly partisan organization. The fact that she was on a board of a group that was doing such good, I think we need to remember. The second thing is we've all been in jobs where things aren't updated all the time. You're still on the website even after you've left, and so I don't worry about that. And as to the Secretary Clinton speaking to NYU, you have to remember that first and foremost, she had been the senator from New York. So NYU had been in her district, and I'm quite confident that she had probably agreed to that speech long before she became Secretary of State. I think we spent a lot of time talking about the Clinton Foundation. And I'm actually okay with that because the work of the Clinton Foundation is what's important. The transparency is what's important. They've always been very vocal in what they've done, particularly in the Middle East, calling out governments who have not done things appropriately, but always looking out for the underserved.
All right, Robert O'Brien, does this information have any impact, do you feel, on Secretary Clinton's presidential campaign?
You know, I think it's just one more bit of information that goes to kind of this whole murky relationship between her as Secretary of State and the Clinton Foundation, the personal wealth generating machine of Clinton Inc., Clinton World. And look, it was an unusual situation for her to come into the Secretary of State position and bring with her kind of all her top staffers. That's usually something that gets handled through presidential personnel, their presidential political appointments, and the Secretary comes in with them. She was able, because of her stature and because of whatever deal she cut with President Obama, to kind of bring Clinton World to the State Department, and they brought with them their relationships to the foundation, which most of the money that's come into the foundation has been used to pay for travel and private jets and staff for the Clintons. It actually hasn't gone to the poor and needy around the world. You know, I'm not doubting that they do some good, but most of the money that's come into that foundation has been used for the foundation and for Clinton World itself, for the Sidney Blumenthals and the Huma Abedins and the Cheryl Millses and the Clintons themselves. So it'll all, you know, we'll have to see how it plays out in the campaign, but this is just one more piece of information that goes with it, and I'm sure it'll get sorted out.
All right, Douglas and Robert, thank you both so much for joining us today, and you can check out foxnews.com for more on this developing story. I'm Patty Ann Brown. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Patty Ann.